Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Alex Cuesta Daily Show. I hope everybody is doing well on this Thursday, March 24th of 2022. Before we get into the fun stuff, like, share, follow, subscribe, rate 5 stars on Spotify and iTunes. And as always, spread this word of mouth. Let people know you enjoy the show, what goes on here. It's a good time. And as socials, go search the Alex Cuesta Show on any social media. We will be there, and if we're not there, let us know we're not there, and we'll get there, because being everywhere is important more than ever in this day and age. So let's jump right into the Biden COVID tracker, because as always, we have a busy show because I would like to put way too much on shows that I want to be quick. But Biden COVID tracker, let's run through it. Yesterday, yesterday, day of consistency. I'm back for a second day. Woo! Seems like that's impossible to do lately, but yesterday was the 23rd. We had 79,734,788 cases, 972,684 deaths. Now, as of today, I feel like there was a little bit of a correction in terms of the number of cases. So it's a much bigger number today. I don't know why that is. We had a day 2 days ago of just no change in the cases. And so I think that this might just be a little bit of a correction based on what the trends that we've been seeing. But let's just go over it. For today, the 24th, 79,803,443 cases. That's an uptick of 68,655. Deaths, 973,841. That's an uptick of 1,157. So again, like I said, especially in the cases, I think this is a little bit of a correction of not properly reporting it the last few days. I don't know why that happened, but it seems to be something, because I don't believe that we had that many cases when we were at averages of 30,000, 20,000. I guess the chance of a surge is legitimate, but I don't think so. There's been no proof to say that that's the case. They keep on talking about BA2 and Delta Cron and things like that. Who knows? Who knows if that's going to come, when that's going to come, if that's not already here with our heavily vaccinated society. So we shall see. Deaths, 1,157. Deaths do follow a few weeks behind. So who knows if this is kind of in response to what we saw a few weeks ago. So we shall see what goes on. But the numbers are still at endemic level. We need to keep on pounding that. We are at endemic level. So it is not something that we should be, really worrying about at this point. We should be going about our normal lives right now. That's really what it is. We should be going about our normal lives. But I will continue to harp on this because Joe Biden needs to be held accountable. The man with the plan failed, and he needs to be held accountable for his failure for as long as he is unwilling to give up the emergency powers that basically make him an authoritarian in this sense, with being able to do mandates or trying to push them through, or with his word being gospel. So yeah, we're not allowing that to slide here. So this is all on Biden. Past the 401,000 or 402,000, I'd say, deaths, because it was right there, and 24.5 million cases. The rest of it's on him. That's what he inherited. That's what he was supposed to really put a slow on and stop. And he has failed at every step of the way, which is basically a microcosm of the man's presidency. Well, let's jump into some of the topics. I didn't mention yesterday, Leah Thomas. If anyone that hasn't been following, Leah Thomas is the trans swimmer, biological male, now a trans female, who was a collegiate swimmer as a male, very low, not great ranked, 400, 500 in the nation. But keep that in mind, that out of all the people in all Division I schools competing on teams, he was the 500 fastest male. That is nothing to shake a stick at. He was still an elite athlete in swimming. He wasn't an Olympian level. He wasn't a national champion level. But being able to compete at a high level like that, he was still an elite, a very good athlete. Now, fast forward to now, he ended up winning a few days ago the 500-yard swim at NCAA Nationals for women. And a lot of things have transpired lately. Governor DeSantis let out a pretty based decision that the Florida swimmer ended up being second, actually is the national champion. And when you see things talking about Leah Thomas, I don't necessarily want to comment about the competition because that is what it is. NCAA is not going to do anything about it. They're scared of the woke communities, and it's just not something that they want to tangle with. And it's going to be a part of the culture war, but it shouldn't be a part of the culture war in the way that it is. Let me say this. Nobody gives a fuck that William Thomas became Leah Thomas. Nobody cares. It's an insignificant part to everybody else's life. Yes, there's some of your bigoted assholes who will say, oh, it's just unnatural and it shouldn't happen. And those people are closed-minded fucks anyway. We don't have to care about them. They're such a small fraction of people. But in reality, nobody cares that a male wanted to become a female. No one cares. This is not about him being trans or about her being trans, if I'm going to be proper, because whatever, if somebody wants to transition, they want to be called her. What does it hurt your life to respect that decision? Who gives a shit? So Leah Thomas, her, is not about her becoming a trans woman. It's about defending women, biological women, to have their rights and have their own spaces. Now, you'll hear the argument that trans women are women. We all know that's bullshit. Even the people saying it know that it's bullshit. Trans women are not women. I don't care how many hormone blockers they've taken. I don't care how many testosterone blockers or all the changes of surgeries they've undergone. They will never be women, ever. Being a woman is not a state of mind. It is, they're trying to make gender to be irrelevant. I forget who I was watching. Yeah, I watch TikTok. Don't grill me. But I was watching somebody on TikTok, and he was talking to people, and he said when people do archaeologist digs, when archaeologist digs are done thousands of years from now from our civilization, what they identify is man and woman. They identify that this was a man, this was a woman. They don't identify that this was a trans woman, this was a trans man, this was a gender fluid person. They don't give a shit about that. That's because biological differences are real. And they go back to even our primitive ancestors and our cousins, the Neanderthals and other such cousins, that we could tell what gender they were. We tell the gender of animals in archaeologist digs because there are two. It is a biological thing. So what they care about is protecting females in the female space of sports. So one of the things I think is a big push and pull, I guess, or a tug going on in the left circles is you have the feminists who are now accused of being called TERFs if they don't go right along with the trans thing. And what a TERF is a trans exclusionary radical feminist, which J.K. Rowling is now being accused of being after she was a LGBTQ darling for saying Dumbledore was gay and was a ultra lib for the longest time and one of their favorite people. The fact that she won't kowtow to the trans community and just, and she acknowledges that there are two sexes, that there is biological differences. She's now persona non grata. But that's one of the things that's going on. If you're on the left, you need to figure out what you believe in. Are you a feminist or are you a trans rights activist? Because there is no in between. You can't be both. If you believe that trans women are just actually women, then you're not a feminist. Because the whole purpose of feminism is to defend women. What it is, if you attempt to be both, you're now saying that men who have, in your eyes, dominated women's lives, have created a patriarchy to oppress women, are now allowed to now take your sex, take your gender for their own. And when it comes to sports like this, Leah Thomas took away a championship and a podium place from biological women. We saw the MMA female that was actually really hurting women fighting. She was eventually defeated, but overall, the biological male transitioned fighting biological women were getting their ass beat. Thank God they lost. And don't get me wrong, Leah Thomas is not going to be this amazing Olympian, I don't think. Because you look at her time in the 500-yard race, Katie Ledecky would destroy that time. There are extremely gifted females that will always beat some of the top trans women. That is not the argument here. The argument here is that we could be looking at a trans woman taking a scholarship from a biological woman that has worked their ass off to get there, where if they would have stayed as a male, would not have had that opportunity to go to school to compete there. This isn't being transphobic. Again, nobody gives a fuck about somebody transitioning. They don't care. What they care about, if they're a feminist, if they care about women, if they care about their young daughters, if they care about their mothers, their sisters, they care about them being able to compete in their own spaces to have the opportunities that they earn. There's a reason why men and women don't compete together, because men are biologically superior in certain ways when it comes to athletics. They're bigger, they're faster, they're stronger naturally. Again, you're going to hear that one person, I know a woman that can beat up every guy. You know, one fucking woman. Come on. It's such a dumb example when we know about these things. People will point to Serena Williams. Serena Williams herself says that she would never want to compete against men. That Andy Murray would beat her in 30 minutes in 3 sets. It wouldn't take him long. That's how unequal it is. So I don't know. That's my 2 cents on Leah Thomas. I don't care that there was that transition. I care about the women in the sport and that they deserve to have their own rights. And that when women come out and talk about it, they're being demonized. And they're being demonized by the full left, because now the left goes by victim status. So being a woman now, especially a white woman, you are the lowest victim on the liberal victim status. So watch yourself. A lot of these feminists need to watch themselves, because they are not the darlings anymore. Feminism is not the cool thing anymore. When they need it, it'll be brought back up, but it's not cool anymore. So that's my 2 cents on Leah Thomas. As I usually do, I want to talk about some of the runner-up articles for today. The first one I didn't want to cover. It was an interesting article because Mayor Adams, Eric Adams of New York City, lifted part of the private sector vaccine mandate for athletes and performers. Predictably, this got a ton of backlash. Now, I've said plenty of times, I think Mayor Adams is the worst politician in the country, because just look what he's doing here. This is absolutely hypocritical. Not 2 days ago, the man was talking about how he's going to stick with this. He's no reason to change it. The medical experts don't say this. And now he comes out today saying it's economically sound to do it, that we need that. When you're still hurting the economy of a lot of people, even within these sports realms. Your people working the concession stands, your janitors, even your executives and people working on the teams. If they're not athletes, they need to be vaccinated. And now you're hurting those people because they're sitting at home suspended without pay. Or all of the police officers or firefighters that were laid off without pay or suspended without pay. Or this can only be seen as kowtowing to the elite. This can only be seen as an attack on the middle class who refuse to get in line. It's crazy. And small businesses who rely on these types of workers coming in because they want help and they need help. Still plenty of small businesses shuttering left and right because people aren't coming to get help. I don't know if people are opening up their eyes more yet, but this is all about control and all about making money and lining pockets. Mayor Adams has no interest in the people. He talks about, I have to worry about 9 million people, not just a few. He doesn't give a fuck about you. You morons in New York City are getting what you deserve for voting for him. You're getting a terrible mayor. You are. And you're getting what you deserve. And I know people are like, oh, well, he's tough on crime and he's against bail reform. Man, that's all token bullshit. Not going to lie. Not going to lie. Yeah, the police commissioner apparently is doing a pretty good job there. But the bail reform stuff, let me laugh at him trying to get that done. If he tries to touch bail reform in New York City, the lawsuits that will come on him will be swift and he will lose because of the radical judges up and down New York City that will sit there and say, no, we are going with the New York State statute on this. bail reform. Boom, rubber stamped. And then Mayor Adams, knowing he's going to lose, will say, listen, I tried. I'll continue to try. I'll continue to work hard. I believe that bail reform needs to be done, but I can only do so much with the courts. You're going to see a lot of that rhetoric. He's not going to do shit on bail reform. He's going to make it look like he wants to do it. But, yeah, no, he's terrible. He's absolutely terrible. This was never about health. None of this was ever about health. And Mayor Adams coming in saying on day one, I wanted to, lift this and let them play with the economy. And I listened to the medical experts and the medical team. And that's another problem here. No one elects representatives to listen to bureaucrats and medical experts on anything. They elect you to make your own fucking decisions. We've all fallen in love with, quote unquote, listening to the experts. If you're electing somebody to listen to the experts and they're a moron, I get it. There's certain things that they don't know and they should be taking counsel, but they shouldn't be listening persona non grata. They shouldn't just be, I use persona non grata as a term. Scratch that. But they shouldn't just be blindly listening to this shit. They use them as a crutch. Mayor Adams uses that as a crutch the medical experts. And Biden's the same way. We're going to continue to trust our medical experts and follow their advice. That's terrible. It's not the way you should be a politician. So he's awful. Another thing about this is in the article was from NBCNewYork.com. And it's called I Am Unafraid. Adams excuses NYC athletes, performers from vaccine mandate amid backlash, written by Jennifer Millman, Andrew Siff, Adam Harding, published today, actually. And one of the things they mentioned is that baseball, Yankees and Mets players will also be able to play through this. As Aaron Judge, and Anthony Rizzo, both are unvaccinated. They'll be able to play now. They mentioned that Toronto is the fucking problem in Canada. If you're unvaccinated, you can't go play in Canada. I think the MLBPA and the MLB needs to put their foot down. That if you're not going to let them go play, and I think the NBA needs to join this as well, we're not going to play in Toronto. The Blue Jays need to move into Buffalo or something until Canada gets their shit together. But we will not play, and every game will be a Toronto forfeit because it's bullshit. It's bullshit at this point. And if Canada doesn't want to get along and doesn't want to get with the program and stop wanting to be authoritarian, we shouldn't support authoritarianism in any which way, even though we have authoritarians in power. But still, it's not going to happen. It's a pipe dream. But we should be telling Toronto and Canada to fuck off and cause them to forfeit all these games. But never going to happen. I would just like for it to happen. Right before we get to our main article, a laughable article and a headline that no one should be surprised about. New York Post. This is aggregated to the Associated Press. I think they just threw that in there. Taliban cancels girls' higher education despite pledges. What a surprise. What a surprise that the newer, kinder, gentler, more progressive and understanding Taliban now says that no girls over 6th grade are allowed to go to school anymore. Sorry. The new school year is about to start over in Afghanistan. And no, sorry. You guys can't go to school. We promised you would be allowed to. But no, sorry. We're religious extremists. We believe in the extremes that were taught in the Quran. Take them out of context and treat them like the only part of the Quran. Because I'll stand by that. These Taliban people are just assholes. They do not represent Islam. Just like the Crusaders don't represent all of Catholicism, just like the psycho fucking Bible belters in the South don't represent all Christians or all conservatives and people on the right for that matter. Your religious extremes are always wrong, period. Always wrong. There is no such thing as a proper religious extreme. Take out your monks, take out your priests, take out your people of the cloth, your preachers. They're religious extremists in a certain different way, but your violent religious extremists are never right. And the Taliban are your violent religious extremists. They do not represent the religion of Islam. They take certain things spoken, written down by the Prophet Muhammad in the Quran and take it out of context and add their own interpretations to it and have created it as law. The article here, it's the Associated Press, so I'm not surprised, fluffs it up, says that there's pragmatic individuals in the cabinet of the Taliban, and they wanted to let women go, but then there's the more fundamentalist religious side, and they are against it. And there's going to be a switch up top in the cabinet. Please stop with the propaganda bullshit. If you're in the Taliban, you are not more pragmatic. You are not more understanding. You are a religious extremist. That's part of the fucking thing. It's part of being in the Taliban. So no, that is bullshit that there's any pragmatists in the Taliban. They don't exist. And with the way they talk about the Taliban in this, they really do try to legitimize them as a government. They have a cabinet. They have an interim leader. They have all this stuff. No, they are an occupying terrorist regime that has taken Afghanistan by force. They are nothing more. They are not a government. They are not a government. They are not anyone that anyone should recognize. But people in the AP that write and people around, they're very soft on this type of shit because, I don't know, I'm not going to accuse them of things, but needless to say, we should not be recognizing the Taliban as a government. They're not. They are a terrorist organization that has occupied and taken Afghanistan by force and are holding it. And it should be under protest that they are holding it. The fact that nobody is there and doesn't give a shit is terrible. All right, let's get to the main crux of the day, the article of the hour. It is from fox5ny.com by Chris Williams. This was published 2 days ago on the 22nd. Gas price stimulus checks proposal head to Congress. Yippee, everybody. More, air quotes, free money possibly coming our way. Some doozies in here too. Get ready for this one, everybody. Let's start the article. With Americans still in shock over jaw-dropping, rising gas prices, a few proposals have floated around Congress and elsewhere about offering some relief to drivers. Los Angeles on Tuesday became the first major city in the United States to reach an average gas price of $6 or more. That's according to fuel savings platform GasBuddy, which reported the national average gas price in the United States beginning to decline since the peak of $4.35 per gallon on March 10th. By the way, beginning to decline, I don't know where that's from. It ain't declining by me. So we'll find out where it's declining. And as some place reaches a high average gas price of $6, it's declining. It kind of doesn't jive with me there. Let's keep going. Some proposals include stimulus checks while others would tax oil companies. Marxism. Americans could get more than $100 per month in energy rebate. One proposal comes from Representatives Mike Thomas of California, John Larson of Connecticut, and Lauren Underwood of Illinois. This article doesn't include that, but they're all Democrats. I will let everybody know not a single one of them is a Republican. You'll realize that soon, but nice to throw it in there. The congressional lawmakers proposed the Gas Rebate Act of 2022, where Americans will get an energy rebate of $100 per month and $100 for each dependent for the rest of 2022 in any month where the national average gas price exceeds $4 per gallon. So everyone, let's remember how this went. We just got a whole bunch of stimuluses. We just got a whole bunch of child tax credits. And what happened when all of you went to file your taxes? You had to put them down. They want their money back. You had to claim it. And what did that do? You saw your number go. The tax rebate you were getting got hurt significantly. None of this money is free. They don't give a shit about us. They really don't. Like they're acting like they're giving us free money. A household of four would get $400 a month for gas. It's giving away money. But they're going to ask for it all back. And they always do. None of this is ever free. And they love to sit there. Gas Rebate Act of 2022. They make it sound like they're giving you back your money. They're going to ask for it back. They always do. Let's keep going. Quote, Americans are feeling the impact at the pump of Vladimir Putin's illegal invasion of Ukraine. And right now, we must work together on common sense policy solutions to ease the financial burden that my constituents are feeling, Thompson said in a news release. The Putin price hike is putting strain on our economy, and I am proud to be working with Representative Larson Representatives Larson and Underwood to introduce this legislation to provide middle-class Americans with monthly payments to ease the financial burden of this global crisis, end quote. So let's break this down here because this motherfucker goes all in with the tropes here. Vladimir Putin's illegal invasion of Ukraine. Since when is an invasion of another country illegal? That's my first. Why are we just calling this one illegal? Of course it's illegal. It was illegal when China invaded Hong Kong and took them over quietly at the beginning of COVID-19. No one talks about that. No one talks about that. But illegal, putting that in there. Vladimir Putin's illegal invasion of Ukraine. So right away, they're putting all of the economic impact onto the war when it is easily looked up and documented that these gas prices started when Joe Biden took office and were really taking a hike about a month, the whole month before Russia even invaded. It was really starting to rise. And what did we hear the whole time? It was all about inflation. It was all about supply chain. It was all transitory. It was good. It was going to pass. No one's going to argue that the war hasn't made it get worse, but to put it all on Putin, it is sitting there and putting no blame on Biden at all. And when you look at these words, when these idiots talk, common sense policy solutions, whenever any of these politicians say anything like that, know that none of it's going to make fucking sense and that it's not going to benefit you. Whenever these people use those types of words, it is not going to benefit you. And then again, he uses Putin price hike. The left are amazing at using these dumb, catchy fucking things. And people start parroting them. Just like I did the show yesterday on Don't Say Gay. People start parroting this shit. The left are a bunch of sheep and they're stupid. And they start parroting this without knowing anything about what's going on at all. And it's easy to look up now. There's no excuse to not be semi-informed with the internet. Let's keep going here. The rebate follows the same phase out as most recent economic impact payments, where $100 will be given for single filers earning less than $75,000 and phased out to $80,000. The other part includes $100 for joint filers for more than $150,000 and phased out at $160,000. So again, if it's following the same phase out and the same way that's run, again, they're asking for this back. They will not give this to you for free. Nothing is free. Oil companies could fund tax credit for Americans. So this is where it gets nice and class warfare here. Nice Marxism coming up. Representative Peter DeFazio of Oregon has proposed the Stop Gas Price Gouging Tax and Rebate Act. So, different, little catchy name. The bill would create a windfall profit tax on excessive corporate profits and return the revenue to American consumers in the form of a tax rebate. So yes, let's attack the private corporation. Let's not give back the tax money for bullshit that you guys tax us on all the time. No, let's go after the private company. Let's hear what this chump have to say. Big oil is foaming at the mouth, said Representative DeFazio. After price gouging Americans in 2021 to make record profits, big oil is now reaping the benefits of Putin's price hike. Again, using the catchy Putin's price hike and demonizing oil companies for making money because previously, the president actually gave a shit about making us energy independent. Donald Trump. That is why they were making record money. They were making record money not because they were price gouging Americans. They're making record money because they were exporting a shit ton of oil all around the world. And they were increasing at all times. It wasn't. And so Representative Peter DeFazio is a liar. We shouldn't be electing these people. They lied to you flat out. Let's keep going. My legislation would tax big oil's excess profits in 2022 and return the revenue back to Americans. It's beyond time to put people over profits, period, he continued. So this clown going with the people over profits mantra and trying to say big oil, it's the same rhetoric they use against big pharma when they're not trying to shove vaccine down our face. The wealthy class of politicians always wants to go against the other wealthy people. And this is not going to pass. They're not going to do this. They can't do this. This is illegal. You cannot pass a law saying that private companies need to redistribute their money or else. What is the consequence of this law if a private oil company tells them to fuck off? What is it? Is there a quid pro quo coming here? Are they going to face jail time? This is illegal. Everything about this is illegal. And it's a drum up anger at big oil to try and push their green bullshit. Under his proposal, Companies will pay a one-time 50% windfall profit tax on any adjusted taxable income, ATI, in 2022 that exceeds 110% of their average ATI during pre-pandemic levels between 2015 to 2019. Revenue raised by the windfall profit tax will be returned to consumers as a monthly advance and refundable tax credit that will be phased out by income, according to DeFazio. He said eligibility is identical to criteria used for economic impact stimulus payments that were included in the American Rescue Plan, ARP. So let's talk about this. Between 2015 and 2019 is when Donald Trump was working on getting these oil companies. He was elected in 2016. So he was working on getting these oil companies to be allowed to frack and horizontal drill all around the country again on federal land and exceeding that even more and cutting back a bunch of regulations. So, of course, they are going to have record revenues more recently, even after Donald Trump is gone, because they were able to drill a ton more. This clown is making it seem like they just all of a sudden started to raise all the gas prices out of nowhere and raise all the prices out of nowhere when none of this is true. Under Donald Trump, we were paying as low as we paid in God knows how long, under $2 an hour. They were not price gouging. They were spreading the wealth. They were sending it all around the world and making money off of exporting. We have clowns like this that'll make you believe like these big evil oil companies are just going after you because right now the prices are high. The prices were high because Joe Biden stopped these oil companies from getting new contracts, because he stopped Keystone Pipeline, and speculators all looked at this and said, wow, one of the exporters in oil, a country that became an oil giant, now stopped with all their energy production. We are going to speculate that the prices will go up, and the speculative market is really powerful right now. Just look up Enron. It hasn't gotten any better. So again, clowns lying to you and making it sound good. Other relief measures being proposed outside of Washington. In California, Democratic state lawmakers announced a $400 gas rebate proposal for every taxpayer. The proposal would use $9 billion of the state's budget surplus to provide the rebate, which is expected to cover 51.1 cent per gallon tax for one full year of weekly fill-ups for a car with a 15-gallon gas tank. So it's a very specific, but I have a question for this one and all the other proposals. How do they know they have cars? You're going to give this rebate, this gas rebate, to inner city people that probably don't use cars? Why? How are they going to do this? Are they going to look at the motor vehicle rolls of every single state? And are they only going to give it to those who have registered motor vehicles? Or are they just going to roll it out? My guess is they're just going to roll it out. They are not going to check the rolls. They want everybody to get quote unquote free money. Why? Because then they get more voters. They just think that, and they know that idiots who just get free shit will vote for them without looking at the consequences. Let's keep going. According to WWLP, Governor Ned Lamont of Connecticut has called for a holiday from the state's 25-cent per gallon gas tax, starting as soon as possible and lasting through the end of June. However, state lawmakers say the proposal is political theater and said that they are looking for other ways to give people a financial break. Yeah, if you don't ever believe in a gas holiday from the state gas tax, they'll just raise it afterwards. That's all that would happen. You'll see that 25 cent quickly become 27 cents. 28 cents. Oh, we got to get it to 30 cents now. Oh, yeah. It's just a supply and demand. It's the evil oil companies that we have to do this. Yeah. Don't believe in those holidays. They're bullshit. Governor Janet Mills of Maine has proposed increasing the state's relief checks for residents to $850 in face of record high inflation and rising oil and gas prices. Yes, yes. What's the answer to inflation? More government spending, more fake monopoly money going around, more of your taxpayer money getting put back to you so we can raise taxes again because we gave so much money. God, these people, it's not difficult to understand what they do here. Let's read what Miss Mills had to say. Inflation and increased oil and gas prices resulting from Putin's invasion of Ukraine are hitting Maine people hard. This proposal will help Maine people grapple with these increased costs by putting money directly back into their pockets, Mills said. That's the end of the article. I can't help but laugh. Every time these morons blame the gas prices on Putin, it's hilarious. It's hilarious. This is the same party that ridiculed Donald Trump for talking about Russia potentially rigging the election in favor of Hillary. This is the same exact group of people that supported Barack Obama twice when he told Mitt Romney that 1980s wants their foreign policy back and told Donald Trump to not worry about the Russians because they don't have the ability to stop living in the past. The same exact party is now sitting there and they're now big on the Red Scare. Now Russia's the big bad. I thought Russia wasn't even a threat. Didn't we hear that up in the Democratic primary debates that Russians weren't the threat? It was all China. Russia's not even a threat. Like, come on. These are not serious people. I get it. Putin's invading Ukraine. They're not serious people, though. They're using a crisis to bullshit you to get what they want. God, it is so paper thin. And don't fall for this. Don't fall for this. Don't support this. If they do this, I'm going to figure out a way to not take this fucking money. Because, again, they asked for it all back. They asked for it all back. So what's the point? What's the point? It's not like most people are in a better financial situation than they were during mid-pandemic. A lot of people couldn't get their same jobs back and are scraping. So this is it's an embarrassment. And it's all Democrats opposing it. They're the embarrassment of this country. Our Democratic lawmakers and our friends on the left. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people on the right that are embarrassing, but the full group of people on the left are embarrassing, top to bottom. It sucks. It sucks that there's not even a group to debate honestly anymore about policy because they come up with bullshit like this and they know what it's going to bring and they know what they're trying to do with it. And it's just terrible practice. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening to the show. I appreciate it. As always, if you enjoy what you hear here, like, share, follow, subscribe, rate 5 stars if you're listening on Spotify and iTunes. Spread this word of mouth. And as always, go find us on social media at The Alex Cuesta Show. I appreciate everybody for listening. This is 2 days in a row, everybody. Let's finish out the week strong. Do a show tomorrow, and then I'll be back and hopefully run with 5 days. Who knows? Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. All right, everyone. And thank you so much. Have a good one. Talk to you tomorrow.